The merchant in the markets in the ancient city of Corinth. When gold coins still carried the weight of power and every merchant dreamed of fortune, there lived a man named Arion. He was no ordinary trader, with a sharp eye for opportunity and an unshakable belief in his instincts. Arion built his empire one deal at a time. Every morning, his stall opened before the sun, overflowing with silk, spices, and oil from the farthest corners of the world. He was the kind of man who seemed to always buy low and sell high, earning admiration and envy from his peers. Fortune, he often said, favors the bold, and for a long time, it did. His name became synonymous with success. Caravans bearing his seal stretched across the desert, his chest filled with silver, and his reputation reached even the ears of governors and nobles. But the market, like the sea, has its tides, and even the greatest sailor must learn that he cannot command the waves. One summer, a drought struck the east, caravans stopped arriving, goods became scarce, prices spiked overnight, and the once bustling bazaar began to tremble with uncertainty. At first, Arion welcomed the chaos, a chance for quick profit, he told himself, doubling his bets. But as the days dragged into weeks, the panic spread. Traders shouted, "Sell before it's too late." Crowds rushed to unload their goods. Prices plummeted faster than anyone could imagine. Arion, who had always been calm in the storm, began to doubt himself. Each morning, he stared at the empty stalls and wondered if his fortune would survive the next sunrise. What if it never recovers? He whispered to himself. What if this time the market never comes back? Fear won. He sold his stock at a loss, liquidated his assets, and locked away what little he had left. Weeks later, the rains returned. Caravans began to arrive again. The same goods he had sold for pennies were now worth gold once more. The market had recovered, but Arion had not. Years passed. His hair turned gray, his hands grew slower, and his name was no longer whispered in the markets. He spent his days in quiet reflection, sitting beneath an olive tree at the edge of the city, watching young traders bustle about with the same hunger he once had. One afternoon, a young merchant named Darius approached him. His eyes burned with ambition and fear. "Master Arion," he said, "the market is falling again. Everyone is selling. Should I do the same?" Arion smiled. Not the smile of arrogance he once wore, but one of wisdom carved by time. "When the tide goes out," he said softly, "the sand shows, but the ocean always returns." Darius frowned. "But how do I know when?" "You don't," Arion replied. "That's why patience is worth more than gold. The market rewards those who can wait when others panic." The young man listened, truly listened, and for the first time in his short career, he did nothing. He held his goods. He ignored the chaos. He waited. Months later, as the market rebounded, Darius' wealth doubled. His calm turned into confidence, and his confidence into wisdom. When he returned to thank Arion, the old merchant simply said, "The market doesn't punish fear or greed. It punishes reaction. Control your emotions, and you'll control your fortune." Years later, traders in Corinth would tell the story of two merchants, one who lost everything by chasing the market, and another who gained everything by understanding it. And so the legend of Arion lived on, not as the richest man who ever traded, but as the one who finally mastered himself.